Steelers country, let's ride. The Pittsburgh Steelers have officially agreed to terms with quarterback Russell Wilson to bring him to the Steel City in a bombshell move from GM Omar Khan, head coach Mike Tomlin, and for the city of Pittsburgh, beginning a new era of Pittsburgh Steelers football. And if you guys want exclusive, extensive coverage of the Russell Wilson era in the Steel City, all you have to do is click that subscribe button. It takes a half second of your time. It's 100% free to do so. And man, this is going to be exciting. You can have an opinion of whether or not this experiment with Russell Wilson is going to end up working for this football team. But the one thing that I know for sure is that the 2024 season is going to be a very interesting one for the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, so make sure you guys click that subscribe button. Let's get into this right now, guys, because I think that this is the right move for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you have been watching this show over the last month or so, you know that I have been all over this. You know that I have been advocating for the Pittsburgh Steelers to sign Russell Wilson to be their next quarterback for the bevy of reasons that I have laid out on the show. So let's go over the resume for Mr. Russell Wilson here. And it is an impressive resume. It is borderline Hall of Fame. And if he can add to this resume in his time here at the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're probably going to be seeing Russell Wilson with a bust in Canton, Ohio someday. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He nearly won that second one. He won 2 NFC championship games. He has a winning record in the playoffs. And then when it comes to the clutch, he's one of the most clutch quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League. Top 10 in game-winning drives in NFL history. Top 10 in fourth-quarter comebacks in NFL history. Has one of the highest touchdown percentages in NFL history. Has one of the lowest interception percentages in NFL history. Less than 2%. Then the quarterback rating is at 100 flat. That's a really, really good number. And you guys have known this, man. I have been on the Russ train for over a month. February 3rd is the first time I said on the show that the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to consider Russell Wilson to be their next starting quarterback and why it would make sense, and now it's all coming to fruition. That's why you click that subscribe button, and that's why you come to Steelers Talk for the most extensive, in-depth coverage of the Pittsburgh Steelers here on YouTube. And listen, man, when you look at the numbers with Russell Wilson, I don't understand the people that say that he's washed. Let's just compare his numbers to Patrick Mahomes from last season. And Patrick Mahomes is the guy that people are saying is already better than Tom Brady, or at least some people are saying that. And you look at these numbers. Now, I'm showing you guys these numbers not to say that Russell Wilson is better than Patrick Mahomes. Any functioning human with a brain could tell you that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback on the planet. But for a guy that was in the same area as Patrick Mahomes in adjusted completion percentage and yards per attempt, had a higher touchdown percentage by over a point, okay, the interception percentage was lower and had a higher quarterback rating, and you're paying him what the Steelers are going to be paying him this year? Oh my goodness, man, this is such an upgrade for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Russell Wilson is still a good starting quarterback in the National Football League, period. And you look at Russell Wilson's stats versus Kenny Pickett, what the Steelers already had on the roster, and it's not even close. Okay, the on-target percentage, almost 5 points higher than Kenny Pickett. The yards per attempt, it's a half yard more per attempt. Okay, the touchdown percentage, almost 4 points higher in touchdown percentage just last season. The quarterback rating, of course, way higher, and the points above replacement value way higher as well. This is a clear and cheap upgrade that GM Omar Khan has pulled off for the black and gold, and I couldn't be more excited. And perhaps the thing that Russell Wilson is going to provide for the Pittsburgh Steelers more than anything else in terms of an upgrade is red zone efficiency in getting the ball in the end zone, because we know Kenny Pickett, that has been a big struggle of his through the first 2 years of his NFL career. Just look at the last 2 years' touchdown passes between Russell Wilson and all the other Steelers quarterbacks the last 2 seasons. All right, 42 to 25. He almost doubles the amount of touchdown passes that the Steelers have had in the last 2 seasons. All right, so Russell Wilson is somebody that gets the ball in the end zone, and you look at the quarterback rating actually in the red zone, and you compare Russell Wilson and Kenny Pickett. It's not even close. Kenny Pickett is arguably the worst quarterback in the National Football League when working in the tight spaces of the red zone. His lack of anticipation, his lack of accuracy really do show their ugly colors when the things get tighter and the throwing windows get way more tight. And Russell Wilson is somebody that thrives in that environment. He can go out and make plays outside of the pocket. If the play breaks down, he can go out and make something happen with that Russell Wilson magic that he has been able to cultivate throughout his career. He was, I believe, third in the National Football League in quarterback rating in the red zone, and that's going to help the Pittsburgh Steelers put up more points in 2024, and that can only mean more wins for the black and gold. So now, are you feeling dangerous? Let me know down there in the comment section. Grade the Russell Wilson signing from your perspective. Give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by grading this signing of Russell Wilson. For me, you guys know what I'm going to give it, man. I'm going to give it an A because I have been advocating for this for months, paying him what you're paying him, the ability to perform in the clutch, the playoff experience. When you cultivate everything that's going on right now with Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers, how they already have a good defense, a good head coach, good weapons, a good run game, a new OC that seems to know what he's doing, and now you bring in Russell Wilson, one of the most clutch quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League, I think this move gives the Pittsburgh Steelers the best possible chance and a fighting chance to potentially make a run at a Super Bowl championship in 2024. Yes, I said it. Even against teams like the Chiefs, even against teams like the Buffalo Bills, even against teams like the Cincinnati Bengals. I believe Russell Wilson is coming into a situation where you know the defense is going to be awesome. I think George Pickens and Russell Wilson are going to be one of the best wide receiver quarterback duos in the National Football League next year with their ability for the deep ball. And then you got the great run game as well, so you can control the clock in late game situations. I think this team is going to win 12-13 games this year. I think they're going to have a chance at winning the AFC North Division Championship, and I think they're going to be right in the thick of it, and they're going to be a legitimate Super Bowl contender with Russell Wilson under center for them. And listen, man, when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and you look at their situation, they already had pretty much everything in place, okay? You have a great coach in Mike Tomlin who consistently gets the most out of these football teams, all right? He's also a great defensive mind, and this defense with T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith and Cam Heyward and Minkah Fitzpatrick and all these guys that they have, and of course you got Keanu Benton and Joey Porter Jr. as kind of like your up-and-coming stars. That defense is going to be great next year. And you got two really good running backs, and Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, that I really believe in. And then the receiving weapons, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, and of course Jaylen Warren's a good receiver in his own right. They've got everything in place. All they needed was a quarterback that could come in, throw the ball down the field when needed, all right? So somebody that could make, a couple plays outside of structure, somebody that can protect the football, manage the game well, and deliver in the clutch, all right? Somebody that can handle the pressure of the playoffs. Somebody in these close game situations against teams like the Chiefs and the Bills and the Bengals and the Ravens. Somebody with down 6, a minute 30 left on the clock, and a timeout can go down the field and score a touchdown to win the game. I feel confident Russell Wilson can still do that with what the Steelers have in place and the guys that they're going to be bringing in free agency and in the draft. This roster is only going to get better around Russell Wilson because of what the Steelers are paying him moving forward. And I really do think when it comes to all these boxes, I think Russell Wilson checks all of them. So let's go through them one at a time. Pushes the ball downfield. We all know that Russell Wilson has one of the prettiest and most efficient deep balls in the National Football League's history. Of course, he's got that patented moon ball. Can you imagine that deep ball throwing with the play action deep shots that R.D. Smith is about to cook up here in the Steelers offense with George Pickens on the receiving end of that, one of the best 50-50 ball receivers in the game of football today. Good luck stopping the Steelers run game and George Pickens on the perimeter with that play action deep shot. It's going to be really tough for opposing defenses to handle that, so that's a check. Now, what about protecting the football? Russell Wilson has one of the best interception percentages in the history of the National Football League. He's only had one season above 11 interceptions, all right? I think he only has like 3 seasons in his 13 years in the league where he's had over 10 interceptions. So this guy protects the football extremely well. At the same time, throwing the football down the field. That is extremely difficult to do, and Russell Wilson has been one of the best in league history at striking that balance. Then the final thing here, delivers in the clutch. Like we said earlier, top 10 in fourth quarter comebacks and top 10 in game-winning drives in the history of the National Football League. He's also been to the playoffs. He's played in 16 playoff games, and he has won 9 of them. He has a Super Bowl ring on his finger, and he might put another one on his finger here in Pittsburgh with all the weapons and all the infrastructure that's going to be around him. And not only that, guys, but I think getting Russ at the price that they are paying him now really allows them to maximize what they're able to do in NFL free agency here, because you're only paying him a super small amount here. So you are going to be able to get guys in free agency. You're going to be able to fill the holes on your roster, whereas if you would have got like a Baker Mayfield or a Kirk Cousins and paid them $30 million a year or something like that, you would have no money to spend on a corner, on an inside linebacker, on a new safety, on a new wide receiver. The Steelers can get all of those things and check those boxes, and that could really put this roster in a really good spot heading into the NFL draft this year and into the 2024 season, which is a really, really good thing and really does help the Steelers' chances of making a run because it allows them to have a more complete football team heading into the year. And another benefit to signing Russell Wilson here, and it actually pertains to Kenny Pickett, because I think getting a guy like Russell Wilson, who's 35 years old, he's on the tail end of his career, allows the Pittsburgh Steelers to kind of creak the door open for a potential return of Kenny Pickett to be their franchise quarterback once Russ eventually leaves. All right, Kenny Pickett is going to be the backup here, in my opinion, unless he straight up demands a trade or something. I think he's going to be here as Russell Wilson's backup. Now, they might say it's going to be a quarterback competition in camp. Don't fool yourselves. Russell Wilson is coming here to be the starter. But with a guy like Kenny Pickett, man, if he's learning from Russell Wilson for another full year, learning in this quarterback-friendly offense, and these coaches are seeing what he has in this offense every single week in practice, if he's impressive in these practices over the next year or so, I absolutely think that he has a chance to succeed Russell Wilson as the starting quarterback of this football team moving forward. And then another thing here is that if Russell Wilson stinks and they end up just like they're completely out of the playoff contention at any point during the season, right? And it's just a complete failure. Then you have nothing to lose to go back to Kenny Pickett and give him one last tryout, one last audition to prove that he can be the franchise quarterback of this football team in Arthur Smith's offense, all right? So I think that this definitely gives you the most options. It gives you a chance to potentially evaluate Kenny Pickett in the future, and it gives you a quarterback that's clutch, that can perform in the playoffs, that has a great deep ball, and he's a great fit for what Arthur Smith wants to do here in Pittsburgh. And the big question here, like I said, guys, I think the only way Kenny Pickett is not on the roster is if he straight up demands a trade, and it's definitely possible that he does. I mean, if Russell Wilson's coming in to most likely start for this team, and Kenny Pickett might feel slighted by the Pittsburgh Steelers for not giving him a legitimate chance here, at least in his view. So could he ask for a trade? I don't think so. I think he's going to stick it out. He seems like the type of kid that's not going to straight up demand a trade in his third year in the National Football League. So I think he's going to be here. I think he's going to try to earn himself a position as the starting quarterback after Russell Wilson leaves. And who knows, if Russell Wilson stinks it up, he might even get another shot here in 2024. So predict it for me down there in the comment section. Will Kenny Pickett be on the roster this year, or will he get traded? Give me a yes or give me a no. Let me know how you're feeling about Kenny Pickett and what you think his future is with the black and gold. So now let's finish off today's show by talking about how Russell Wilson fits in the Arthur Smith offense, because I think it's a very interesting marriage here between offensive play caller and quarterback, and I actually think it's going to work extremely well. Here are the reasons why. Number one, Arthur Smith loves to go deep shots on play action. Like, he loves to go deep. All right, off of these play action plays. What has Russell Wilson made his living on throughout his career? play action deep shots, all right? So that's absolutely a perfect fit with what the offensive play caller wants to do and what the quarterback does well. Also, the quick throws over the middle of the field. I know people like to say Russell Wilson doesn't throw the ball over the middle of the field very well, but that's actually, I think, a little bit overblown, especially when it comes to play action. If he's under center and there's play action, he does throw the ball over the middle of the field because that play action clears the defenders out of the middle. So that definitely opens up more space, and he's definitely more comfortable throwing over the middle there when there's play action, all right? But then in the drop back passing game where he actually has difficulty throwing the ball over the middle of the field because, plain and simply, guys, he's too short. He can't see over the offensive line. In Seattle, the way that they handled that was that they ran concept alert split concepts in the drop back passing game. Now, what does that mean? That means it's a split field concept, so split the field down the middle. On one side, you have one receiver, probably George Pickens, on an alert route, and it's most likely going to be a go. All right, so if you get single coverage with no safety help, you throw it to the alert route. But then on the other side, you have a concept where it's going to be like a zone beater or a man beater or whatever the case may be, and Russell Wilson is really, really good at mentally processing those types of concepts. And I think that's what Arthur Smith will do with him in the drop back passing game. And then also the third thing that Russ brings is out of structure playmaking. So if that concept side isn't open for Russ, he's really good with the pocket presence and escaping the pocket. Unlike Kenny Pickett, who's terrible at escaping the pocket, Russell Wilson can actually do it effectively, and he can throw the ball downfield and make magic happen. That's exactly what this Steelers offense has been missing over the last several years, and I love the fit between the quarterback, Russell Wilson, and Arthur Smith's offense. I think this is going to be a very prolific attack. It doesn't force Russell Wilson to completely carry this team like it was with the Denver Broncos. It's going to be very run-centric. It's going to be lots of under center. It's going to be a lot of play action, and it's going to be a lot of deep shots with Russell Wilson's rocket launcher strapped to his shoulder. All right, so I'm really excited about the fit. I'm really excited about what this offense will look like with Russell Wilson, and I think this is going to be a match made in heaven. So my prediction here is that on paper, I do expect the Steelers to be a really good football team, all right? With this signing, the expectations go to a whole nother level for me, all right? You got to 10 wins with a terrible offense last year. Now that you're adding, at least in my opinion, a good NFL starting quarterback in Russell Wilson, you better get to at least 12 wins, all right? 11, 12 wins, maybe even 13, and compete for the AFC North Championship this year. And then when you get into the playoffs, you got to be competitive and you got to win a game. All right. So that's my expectations heading into the year. And I think that they will meet them because I believe in Russell Wilson and this Steelers team that much. Now, let me know down there in the comment section. Am I delusional? Am I just too excited about this signing here? Let me know. How many games do you think the Steelers will win with Russell Wilson here with the black and gold? I mean, that's so crazy to say at this point, but I'm super excited, and I can't wait to get the Russell Wilson era started for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That'll be it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for bearing with me to the very end of today's show. Russell Wilson is officially a Pittsburgh Steeler, or at least he's going to be officially a Pittsburgh Steeler on Wednesday when the new league year starts. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now. It's exciting times to be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so you're not going to want to miss any of our exclusive, extensive coverage of the Pittsburgh Steelers all throughout the 2024 offseason.